Hi and welcome to Knit with Hannah. I'm Hannah. Today we are finger knitting with 4 fingers. Hi, welcome to Knit with Hannah. I'm Hannah. I'm here with Knitting Natter to help you learn to knit the easy way. We're doing finger knitting with 4 fingers this week, and like I said last week, you just need a ball of yarn. You do not need any needles. All you need is a ball of yarn. And choose a ball of yarn that is appropriate for your hand size. So as an adult you could knit with super chunky or chunky yarn, the kind of yarn that you would knit with anything between 6-7mm and 15mm needles. And then if you're a child knitting with your fingers, then maybe you would prefer to use Aran weight or even a slightly thinner weight yarn to that as well. Aran worsted weight is a medium yarn. So we're going to do 4 finger knitting today. We're casting on and we're carrying on knitting.
I'm going to start 4 finger knitting just as I started 2 finger knitting with a slip knot, and we do that with the short end of the yarn. This end's going to the ball and that's the end of it, and we're going to wind this short end around the 2 fingers near the tips and then around the 2 fingers near the knuckles, and then move the other index finger underneath that first loop and pull that second loop through. And this goes onto the index finger onto the left hand. Now that's our first stitch, but we want to use 4 fingers this time instead of 2. So I'm going to make sure I don't use this short end and making sure I'm using the long end that goes to the ball, and I'm going to wind around the fingers. So it's already on the index finger, that's our first stitch. I'm now going to go underneath the middle, over the ring, under and around the little finger, underneath the ring, over the middle, under the index. Now I'm confused. I'm surprised I didn't get that wrong. Okay, now we go pretty much the same as exactly what we've just done. So we haven't got the stitch. We need to make a second stitch on the index finger. So we need to go around that with the loose yarn, under the middle again, over the ring, under and around the little finger, under the ring, over the middle, and then underneath the index finger. And that is our first 4 stitches that we're going to make with these 8 loops. One at a time, we're going to move this first loop over the second loop, and then the first loop over the second loop. Make sure you don't lose them on your other fingers. First loop over the second and first loop over the second. There you go. That is our cast on and the first row of stitches. Now we're going to do exactly the same thing. So we're going to go around the index, under the middle, over the ring, around and over the pinky finger, under the ring and over the middle finger. Now we've got these 2 lines of stitches again. So we go over the first stitch loop, goes over the second one, and that is our second row of stitches. Now I'm going to carry on doing this and you're going to see how it grows. Just look at that, just gently growing there. And where's the original end? There it is. So it's just a tiny bit of knitting so far, but as we get a little bit further you'll see how impressive it starts to look. We go around, under, over, under and around, under, over and under. Now I've got quite short fingers in comparison to some adults, so I just have to make sure that I bend my fingers when I'm taking the loop over, otherwise it's more likely to fall off and then I lose the stitch. So I'm bending and I'm bending and I'm bending and I'm bending. If I don't, then I've definitely caught the stitch. And there you go, you just see I've lost it there. So I'm going to twist that bigger loop and move it over the pinky. and then everything is all right. It's just been saved.
Great, you're now finger knitting with 4 fingers. Do give me a thumbs up if that was helpful for you. And if you would like to come back next week, we are going to cast off your 4 finger knitting with a flat cast off rather than using the cast off that we use with 2 finger knitting. This will give you a square top to your knitting rather than having it all go into a point. So if you want to watch that, make sure you're subscribed and click on the little bell as well, because then the YouTube will notify you when that video appears. I'm here every Tuesday every week with lots and lots of knitting videos. Go over to my channel if you're new here and see what you can find. Have a good old binge watch. I will see you next week. Thanks for joining me. Happy knitting and happy finger knitting.